The Lethal Key. Chapter 1: Undercurrents Beneath the Calm. Sunlight streamed through the large windows of an upscale Upper East Side apartment, illuminating the elegant breakfast table. To all who knew them, Evelyn and Luca Harrington were the perfect couple. She possessed inherited wealth. He had once captivated Broadway with his mesmerizing dance. Their union seemed a perfect blend of beauty, talent, and fortune. Yet, the morning's tranquility was shattered by a line in the newspaper. The Ocean Queen arrives in New York Harbor today. Evelyn's hand trembled slightly on her coffee cup. She glanced quickly at her husband across the table. Luca, his handsome profile flawless in the morning light, seemed engrossed in the arts section. He appeared not to notice her distress. On the pier, Sebastian Shaw descended the gangplank, his heart full of anticipation for the reunion. A year ago, embarking on a European book tour, he had tearfully parted with Evelyn in Central Park. They had promised each other that she would find the right moment to tell Luca the truth and end their hollow marriage. But when he saw Evelyn again, she merely introduced him with slight nervousness. "This is Sebastian Shaw, a very accomplished writer. We met at a book club once." Sebastian's heart sank, but he maintained his composure, playing his part in the charade. In private, Evelyn explained that Luca had changed. Soon after their parting, citing recurring injuries and deepening creative anxiety, Luca had announced his retirement from the stage. He had become attentive, home-focused, no longer chasing the external validation and adulation he once thrived on. He was genuinely trying to find stable work as a theater director and spend time with her. Faced with her husband's transformation, Evelyn felt both relieved and ashamed. The affair became impossible to confess, and she had even ceased correspondence with Sebastian. "When did he start to change?" Sebastian pressed. "The very day you left New York," Evelyn whispered. Sebastian felt a chill. The coincidence felt too deliberate. Chapter 2: Ghosts of the Past and a Precise Web. Luca was not oblivious. His artistic nature made him acutely sensitive to emotional shifts. He had long sensed the presence of another man in Evelyn's evasive eyes and occasional distractions. That day, he pretended to leave for rehearsals but instead followed Evelyn to Central Park, witnessing her tearful embrace with a stranger. Rage nearly consumed him. He stormed home, shattering all his dance trophies. But amidst the wreckage, the cold water of reality doused his impulse, his comfortable life, the spacious apartment, his social standing, all depended on Evelyn's wealth. Divorce meant losing everything, reverting to the struggling pauper from a rundown Brooklyn walk-up. As his furious, chaotic thoughts swirled, his eyes caught a figure on the street corner outside Vincent Crow. They had been contemporaries at Juilliard. Vincent was a set designer, expelled for stealing a classmate's wallet. His life had spiraled downward since, and Luca heard he'd recently been released after a minor legal scrape. A vicious and perfect plan crystallized in Luca's mind at that moment. He chose to bide his time. He played the part of the reformed husband, abandoning the time-consuming stage, showering Evelyn with attention. Simultaneously, he began discreetly investigating Vincent. He discovered Vincent frequented city bars, used aliases to rent apartments and court wealthy, lonely women, and was even tangentially linked to the drug-related death of a faded actress. Like a spider, Luca began weaving his web. He stole one of Sebastian's many love letters to Evelyn, the one taken when her handbag was stolen during a stay at their country house. The bag was later recovered, but the letter was missing. Subsequently, Evelyn received a meticulously worded blackmail note. Panicked, she paid the ransom, but the letter was not returned. The drop-off address was a fake postal box. This, naturally, was Luca's orchestration. He needed to plant a plausible, letter-related motive for Vincent's future appearance. Chapter 3: The Proposition. When Luca deemed the time right, he contacted Vincent. Disguising his voice and using a false name, he lured Vincent to the apartment under the pretense of buying his dilapidated car. For the meeting, Luca even used a crutch, feigning a leg injury. The old classmates' reunion quickly turned into a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Luca brought up the old Juilliard theft. Vincent's face tightened. Luca watched his discomfort with the pleasure of a predator toying with its prey. "You see, Vincent," Luca said, swirling his wine gracefully, "we all wear masks. Yours are for survival. Mine are for a better life." He laid out his plan, detailing how he discovered his wife's infidelity and his permanent solution. He produced the stolen love letter, deliberately dropping it. As Vincent instinctively picked it up and handed it back, his fingerprints were secured. On one side, the threat Luca would paint Vincent as the blackmailer who used the letter, a man with a sordid past, a criminal record, and connections to a suspicious death. No one would believe his word. On the other, the lure Luca and Evelyn had wills naming each other as beneficiaries. Upon success, Vincent would receive a sum generous enough to disappear forever. Luca produced a $100 bill as an advance. The plan was cold and precise. The following evening, Luca would invite Sebastian to a private theater salon. He would misplace his keys, steal Evelyn's apartment key from her purse, and place it under a specific flower pot in the stairwell. At 11 p.m. sharp, Luca would pretend to call his producer but misdial his home number. The ringing would wake Evelyn. Vincent, hiding behind the living room curtains, would use a pair of Evelyn's own stockings, provided by Luca, as the weapon. Afterward, Vincent was to open the French windows to stage a break-in and return the key to its hiding place. A scene of a burglary interrupted, leading to panic and murder, Luca said with a smile. And I, with my writer friend, have the perfect alibi. Chapter 4: The stage unravels. The next evening, the plan initially proceeded smoothly. Sebastian arrived. Conversation turned to his latest novel about the perfect murder. He opined that in reality, perfect crime was a myth, as human fallibility was the ultimate variable, always introducing foolish errors. Luca sneered inwardly. He believed he had transcended such weaknesses. Before leaving, Luca couldn't find his keys. As Evelyn searched her purse, Sebastian tactfully went outside to hail a cab. Luca used the moment to draw the heavy living room curtains. Evelyn noted her key was in her bag and mentioned wanting to join them for a movie. Luca vehemently dissuaded her, even feigning anger and threatening to cancel the evening, finally convincing her to stay home. In a playful, embracing goodbye, he deftly palmed her key. At the salon, Luca was distracted, constantly checking his watch. But his vintage timepiece had stopped unnoticed. Realizing it was nearly 11, he panicked, rushing to a phone booth, only to find it occupied. Precious minutes ticked by. At home, Vincent, hidden behind the curtains, grew anxious as the appointed time passed without the phone ringing. He decided to abort. Just then, the shrill ring finally pierced the silence, and the bedroom light switched on. Evelyn, in a silk nightgown, emerged sleepily to answer the phone. "Hello? Hello?" Only silence greeted her. Vincent lunged, wrapping the stockings around her neck from behind. Evelyn fought desperately, her hands scrabbling across the desk, finding the sharp, long-handled paper knife Luca had used to clip reviews. Survival instinct made her step backward wildly. Vincent cried out in pain, releasing his grip. He staggered back, the knife plunging deeper into his own back. On the phone, Luca heard only a man's cry of pain, followed by the crash of falling objects, and finally, Evelyn's sobbing, terrified voice. "Luca! Luca! Someone's in the house." His perfect plan had utterly failed. Chapter 5. The night closes. Luca rushed home, feigning calm, comforting the nearly hysterical Evelyn. He instructed her not to touch anything and let him handle the police. Assessing the scene, he quickly frisked Vincent's body, finding a set of keys he assumed were Evelyn's. He promptly slipped them into her handbag. He then burned the stockings used in the attack but retrieved an identical pair from Evelyn's drawer, tossing one near the body and carefully tucking the other under papers on the desk. He planted the damning love letter back in Vincent's pocket. When Inspector Maurice arrived, his sharp eyes noted the inconsistencies, the lack of breaking and entering tools on the victim, while the weapon stockings were in two places, and most crucially, during the key inquiry, Evelyn confirmed her keys had been in her purse all along. When the inspector privately obtained Evelyn's keys and found they didn't open the Harrington's door, the truth began to crystallize. He set a trap, deliberately swapping codes with Luca, ensuring Luca retrieved Evelyn's purse and saw the wrong key, arranging for a policewoman to escort Evelyn home, demonstrating her inability to open her own door, and himself, waiting inside the apartment. Sure enough, Luca returned, found the wrong key in his pocket, and realized the problem. He went straight to the flower pot, nothing. Pausing, he then checked another spot under the hall runner. As he found the real key and inserted it into the lock, the door opened from within. Inspector Maurice, a shaken Evelyn, and a concerned Sebastian who had rushed over, stood inside. "Good evening, Mr. Harrington," Inspector Maurice said calmly. "It seems you found the key to this door. And to the truth. Pity you used the wrong key and took the wrong path." Luca Harrington's handsome face collapsed in the hallway light. The small brass key in his hand seemed to weigh a ton, clattering to the floor. The sound marked the final, failed note of his meticulously orchestrated perfect murder.